9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Happy Wednesday, good people, and welcome to WWT Live. This, of course, is part of Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. I am the Professor GB, which in some places rhymes with Big E. Yes, we will dig into all of it because it really is a new day, you see. Yeah. It is. And I am not by myself for this rather epic episode of WWT Live. Oh, no. Oh, no. I am not alone. Let's kick things off with who?
It's the Queen Bee of WWT, Wrestling with Honey with
Honey Pop Predictions.
She's here. Wrestling with Honey's in the building. How are you? Uh-oh. Can't hear you. What in the world? Okay.
What is happening?
There. I can hear you now.
Now you can hear me.
Now I can hear you.
As I was saying, greetings from the Honey Pot. Happy middle of the week.
Yes, indeed. And I'll have you know that it is not just a prop anymore. You'll understand that. It is not a prop.
Good.
It is not a prop.
Glad to know.
It's a little lower than it was, but it is not a prop. That is a good thing.
As long as you can hear me. As long as you can hear me.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. We are also joined by, let's see. She is, well, it's Wednesday. So where else will she be besides a Wednesday?
Oh, yeah.
All things elite, all things Courtney. How are you?
Yeah, it's good. It's Wednesday. We have a lot to cover. Of course, we got Dynamite, but this whole week has been a theme of grudges from Monday to NXT, and we'll get into more on the preview for Dynamite later in the show.
Indeed, lots to discuss, and of course, there is an elected official there. Yeah, the problem though is we're told that if we play his video, they might flag us. So I will just give him a proper introduction, given what happened Monday night, given what happened last night. He's a very, very busy man. The mayor is here. Mayor said, how are you?
That's hilarious. I guess I'm responsible for all the flags lately, so I apologize for that. I have been known to pay a couple fines. I had to pay some fines for last night's actions. I will let you guys know my client will not miss any TV time for the slip up. I let her know to kind of reel it in just a little bit, but I appreciate the passion. You know, sometimes you gotta be who you are.
Yeah. We'll talk about that as well tonight. That's for sure. And last, certainly not least, he's a special guy. He is indeed the councilman.
It's Councilman Pharaoh of Strattonville with his Parisiac constituents.
Mayor, did you see it? Did you see it last night?
I saw it all.
That girl got her lights put out. See it with my computer. Did you see it?
I saw it.
Sorry. I know we're gonna talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
Your reaction, Kelsey,
oh my
was
god,
priceless, by the way.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Oh boy, there is plenty to talk about today. Of course, shout out in the chat to Eric. Good to see you, kind sir. Shout out to Stream Elements. Shout out to Boza. Shout out to Cousin Ron. We have plenty to talk about. And I'll just say this. Normally on a Wednesday, we tend to start straight with what happened Tuesday at NXT. Yep. But most of the wrestling world has been in a space for nearly 48 hours. So you had to know that we had to talk about this first.
Yeah.
The New Day 10-year anniversary came up this past Monday. Now, on the heels of what I thought was an absolutely brilliant show on Monday where we discussed who we believed was the greatest member of the New Day. We had no idea of what was about to go down just minutes later with this whole situation involving the New Day. So if you have been under a rock and you have not been on the internet, you missed Raw, you missed all of the things. Big E made his return for the 10-year anniversary, offered to be the manager of the New Day. The New Day refused and just went into a tirade that I don't think anyone expected. So right now, I want to talk about how did you feel when you saw this segment? That's what we're talking about. Your feelings about what you saw Monday night and how you may be feeling right now. Courtney, we'll start with you since you are usually lean toward the elite. So I'm not sure how fully invested you were in this moment, but that's why I want to start with you just to see kind of where you are on this.
Well, Clay, it's so hard to say goodbye by Boys to Men on here. That's what I usually think of because it was really nice to see the New Day from where it started up until now. I was very surprised. I did not see it coming at all because I was very happy to see Big E. I was very surprised when Kofi Kingston named some of the people who had neck surgeries. I was actually shocked he put Edge in there, considering he is on AEW. I was very shocked about that. But of course, naming some of the other guys like Kurt Angle and Stone Cold, who also had neck injuries as well. It's going to be very interesting because now it's Kofi and Xavier, and this is going to add a lot of layers, and I don't think this is going to be the last we're going to see of Big E just yet.
Honey, how did you feel when you saw this Monday night?
Wait. I can't hear you guys.
You can't hear us.
Okay,
Wow.
now I can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay. So how did you feel when you saw this all go down Monday night?
Well, of course, heartbroken, but this is something where I personally, internally felt that it would have been too easy to have one or the other turn. I think the most shocking thing is for both members to turn even more so, and to do it on Big E, who we've discussed extensively as probably the most, I would say, the most loved character in New Day, or the most loved member of the New Day, and what better way to draw that heat and to make that, that heel turn in that way on the most loved character of the New Day. And I actually expected worse. I actually expected worse, and that would have told us if Big E was able to be in action or not in a more specific kind of storytelling way. But they really left that open ended, and it was definitely heartbreaking to watch. You never want to say goodbye to a good thing, but you know what? I think this is going to be a different kind of New Day, and I think we're going to end up enjoying it.
Councilman, let me ask you this. Did they go too far? Did it go far enough? Were there still places it could have gone?
I think the whole thing in general just wasn't enough. And we talked about this on the Raw post show. Not even just the segment itself, but I think the celebration deserved more than what 10 years, and especially how you put it Monday, Professor, of no other team has done this. Like, we should have gotten vignettes throughout the entire show, all of their highlights, their best moments, and this should have closed out the show, not Drew McIntyre. Also, I felt like it was a little bit held back. Like, had this been on Netflix, this may have went completely different. But I like the way it was set. Honey called it outside the physical. I think you feel it. And you know what too? I'm glad it didn't get physical because I don't think that would have been realistic. I think they handled it to the point of where it needed to be. These are brothers. So brothers are going to fight. We've never seen them in a disagreement before.
Correct.
We've never seen them argue with each other before. So this is what
call each other out.
Yeah, this is what you're supposed to get. This is what would have happened in the back of the locker room had they really had a falling out. And I think they did that well. But I think a lot of other things could have been done. But the segment between them and what they said to each other, I think it was enough. The fact that even Kofi Kingston's dreads went heel, because I've never seen his locks look like that. And now they look like a villain. I've never seen his hairstyle like this. Normally it's very brown. I was like, this dude, and then he started talking, and I was like, why haven't you gone heel before? Why did you take this long?
Like I said, I feel like this is going to be a different kind of new day and literally a new kind of new day, and we're definitely going to enjoy this because it's something fresh and new and totally out of their comfort zone.
And I just hope they fully go with it. Like we talked about that on the post show. Like if y'all gonna go heel, change it all up. Like it can still be a new day, but like how they have like the Mario Zelda colors, change them to the dark, like monochromatic colors. Start coming out with the inspiration from like anime villains. And that's how y'all start dressing now. Like fully go into like how y'all ended it. Like, yo, it's us now. Let's do this.
And it's interesting because even what they wore in wearing black and darker colors is something that they normally would not do. And street clothes, like they normally aren't wearing street clothes to the ring, you know, so that's a thing. Now, Ced, you have been a pronounced New Day fan as long as I have known you. So I am very curious how you felt about all of what we saw Monday night. And I'm going to give you this as well. The aftermath, specifically from Big E's girlfriend, who, if you have not seen on X, went nuclear.
Yes, she did.
She went nuclear. What were your thoughts, sir?
Cinema.
It was.
Stood on the sidelines for years and watch people say, "Oh, you should turn the New Day heel. It's getting stale. Why are they not breaking up?" Here we have it. Perfect. It was so good. And this is the one scenario I think I called on the previous Raw watch-alongs that how could you switch it up to where it's believable and you get something new? And that's like, and I thought they would attack Big E. I thought they would have to beat him up. I'm glad it didn't come to that. Just because they're brothers, you know, and there's like tea leaves in there. People are I think people are really overblowing the shock value in all this. Woods literally said, "We'll call you if we need you."
He did.
A hard discussion that needed to be had. He said it was true. Literally. This wasn't Big E that you know. This was Medium E. You know, like Big Luther, Little Luther. Medium E. This was WWE
great.
Network Peacock E.
Wow.
That's who this was. That's who this was. And you can say that because where's the lie? Like, you could have come back before. You could have been clapping on the sidelines and the manager. You had enough time to do College Game Day. You had enough time to go to Iowa for your alma mater. You have enough time to do pre and post shows. You have enough time to do your Big E's 5 moments of the night after every PLE. Why couldn't you come back just to rip the Band-Aid off and be like, "Hey, I got you guys. You guys will get back on the horse." Those are hard truths that needed to be said. And it was done the right way. If anything, this will motivate E because there's still the beautiful thing is this is a storyline. I think what people have been missing with the New Day is they haven't had a story. Probably since they jumped down to NXT and went against Pretty Deadly. This is a storyline that has layers, and we're going to start seeing these layers unfold because one, it can motivate E to come back. You can see E starting to beg these guys back to get in their good graces. Or my personal favorite, after this heartbreak stuff like that, What if E is like, you guys are right, and then you see E go heel with these guys?
Yes.
It's like, I should have been here with you guys, and you see that turn, and maybe that's how E comes back. People underrate how the New Day came into this industry. They were thrown together. Preacher is supposed to be positivity, and everybody hated them. And they were loud, brash, obnoxious heels. Heel Kofi is amazing. You might not get the obnoxiousness behind it like we used to see, the happy-go-lucky obnoxious, but the heel tactics are going to be there, and that's what's going to be beautiful about this whole thing. I loved it. I loved it. There were no tears. I thought it was just. I thought it was done right. And I thought, like, usually when you have a heel turn, it's probably irrational. I feel like everything said had some merit to it. It really did.
That man said you went got a gal and left us.
That I mean,
literally, the whole, like, if you've been following the New Day story, it's been we over me.
Yes.
Another thing is this: Big E, you gonna come out with your special Wale music on the anniversary? That's what we doing.
Now,
came here as an individual.
The big thing we also didn't call out. Big E need to get him a barber ASAP. You don't come to a reunion.
Wait.
No, you
see that. You see that hair.
Wait. That is actually good for the Big E cuts that we've seen over the years. Because Big E used to have, you know how, well, black men usually will get like a fade. His stuff never faded. It was just a line. It was hair, no hair. There was no fade. So this is actually kind of decent, all things considered.
Kevin Durant right now, and I'm
not. But let me. Okay, so there's. I am at some point. I'm going to dig into some of these specific points, but I want to ask this question because you brought up a very interesting point, Mayor, and that is even going to last week, both Xavier and Kofi made some valid points. This week, everybody, Big E made very valid points. Kofi and Xavier made valid points. Here's the real question. Who's the real heel here? Is it really Kofi and Big E? Excuse me, is it really Kofi and Xavier? Or is it Big E for not showing up for his brothers?
I think we back to that same thing with the debate. I think it's the same thing when you ask us who is the greatest, and it's like all three of them make it, and it's by just who had the best moment. It's kind of the same thing with this one. All three of them are the heels because at any time, because to your point, why didn't y'all tell him how you felt already? Like, hey, bro, like you don't check on us no more. Like, what's going on?
Yeah,
we don't know. That's the thing. We don't know that they didn't. Listen to what Kofi said. My newborn daughter, you're the first person I bring her to while you in the neck brace. I've been holding you down since this whole thing happened. I'm sitting there getting my ass whooped on Monday Night Raw every week, and you can't even bother to show up. But you can show up to the PLE, and we don't know about you coming.
But same thing. You could have walked from the back of the locker room, came to support him and doing his stuff. I've never seen them support Big E in his next change of not potentially going out of being no longer in the ring. You didn't see that either.
I love the fact that Chris M got involved in this because I think let's be realistic. We know that they're all very strong friends. They're very much family members off screen. That adds the realism to everything. And like, that's beautiful that she went as hard as she did to really sell it. That was
Mia
great.
did too. Mia also threw some stuff. Mia Yim also.
This is Mia's fault.
Oh God.
Man.
No. History lesson here. Do y'all remember on Twitter when on Instagram where Kofi be like, "Oh, I beat you on up, down, down. You owe me $20," and Mia never paid him back?
We gonna do this
is
over $20?
The result of that.
Exactly.
You got to pay the fine. Pay what you owe. This is a result of that. And now E gets dragged into this because she never paid her debts.
And that Cody never tried to finish his story, he'd have paid that debt off. So the big thing really is this is Cody's fault.
Yeah, and we would get our Rock versus Roman, but we're never gonna get it now.
Yep. People would have got their $20 and he not went to try to finish his story.
Well,
Thank you, Cody Crybabies.
what I will say is what's so powerful about what we just saw Monday night is that it was done with no physicality. Usually people need physicality to try to drive a point home. Here, there were so many points that were made. And again, it got spicy really quickly. When you think about this, this is actually the first time since Big E's accident, not because it actually didn't even happen after the accident. It's the first time that on WWE television, his broken neck was mentioned. They've talked about him having an accident. They wished him well, all of those things, but they've not talked about that before. So for it to be talked about in that way, for Kofi to share those words, a broken neck, so what?
Yeah, a broken neck, and he came back.
Listen, when he said that, I was like, yo. But then to go and say, you're so strong. You didn't even need to have surgery, and you couldn't be here.
I mean, my Achilles fell off the bone, and I had surgery.
And I had surgery. Oh God, it was. Yeah. And here's the beauty of this: to be what some would consider mid-card, and to have such a great impact that for me, I don't know how anybody else felt, but for me, it didn't matter that the show started as strong as it did with Punk and Sammy and Seth. Didn't matter that we had Seth and Sammy at the end with a Drew McIntyre return. None of that mattered because I couldn't get my head around what I just saw.
Which is why that should imagine if you saw that credits pop, the executive producer thing popped up and it went off.
Well, but that's what I call stealing the show. That's what I call maximizing your moments. And this is what makes this era so great, that you don't have, whenever I get on the camera, that's when it's going down. And that's what they made happen. And to do that was incredible. It just, man, it was oof.
And then at the very end, with them sticking together, saying, "Listen, it's all about you and me now, brother," and they just hold arms, and I'm just like, "Oh,
it's no longer we. It's
no longer we. It's them."
They're pissed. They're pissed. That's
now.
He came back.
If they do it, they got to change their whole tag team style up, though. Even in the ring, like you got to rename your stuff. You got to have a different finisher. Like, I want to see the full flip.
Well, I'm interested to see what happens next. I'm very, very interested. I don't know how much changes. Do they do the gradual change where there's just kind of a remix maybe to their music? Does the Titantron for them change? Like how much? Because here's the thing about change. If you do too much, it becomes too much to handle. So I don't know
if that ain't coming back. Trombone ain't coming back. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
I was waiting for it.
We're gonna find you another one. Go find another one on Instagram.
Yeah, she's gonna need another trombone player. But I think that there's going to have to be gradual changes. I don't think we need it all by next Monday. I think the changes might be in the walk to the ring. Let people boo the old music for a while before they change the old music to something else. Gradual changes, I think, will be the way to go, because there's already changes in their body language. There's changes in the words that they're using. Now it also has to equate to wins. They can't give up Big E and then still lose. Right. So to me, first people on the docket needs to be Alpha Academy. They need to be able to go back and beat Alpha Academy as quickly as Alpha Academy beat them. They need to be able to show that we just gave up our brother for a real reason. And so It's going to be interesting. I'm excited, and I say interesting a lot. I'm trying to find a different word, but I think this is going to be a great thing to watch because it's literally like we just got some new characters and some new toys to play with.
Mhm.
And this is going to be fantastic. So what a great moment from Monday night. It had a huge effect on a lot of people, and I'm very excited to see where it goes. Yes, sir.
Am I the only one that feels like this wasn't actual breakup, like by the traditional sense?
So, but that's the other thing that makes this interesting, because I think we all thought
It
that
leaves
we
it
were
very open-ended.
Yeah, I thought we all
that's what I
thought
felt
we
like.
were getting a breakup, but it wasn't a breakup.
It was just like, hey, we don't want to see you right now.
That's what they said. And they said, we'll call you when we need you. That's not a breakup in the traditional sense.
And it also tells us that it's possible that Big E can come back. You never say never.
It was just like, hey, I don't want to be hugged by you right now. That's all that was. I don't want to, like, where have you been?
Yeah. Yeah. And we've all been there. We've all had the argument with the friend or the person who has been missing in action, and then they decide to show up after we've gone through some of the worst times in our lives. Well, don't show up now.
Yep.
It's a realistic feeling. And I think being able to portray that made it so relatable to so many, because it's like we've all had this scenario play out. We've all had it play out.
Look at the bloodline.
Does Big E normally do post shows for NXT? I mean, not post shows, the pre shows.
Yes, he's been doing the pre shows and the post shows. He's been doing that.
Okay. So I'm curious to see what it'll be like this Saturday at Deadline if he's there.
Well, if we'll see if he does the NXT specific ones. I know
that's what I was asking. If he does,
I've not seen him doing the NXT specific ones.
That's what I thought. Saturday night main event. That'll be interesting.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how they handle that. And speaking of Saturday night's main event, thank you. We have a closer look at what some of this card is going to look like. We know now for sure that Liv Morgan will defend her Women's World Championship against Io Sky at Saturday night's main event. We also now know, and this was pretty slick, that Finn Balor has worked his way into the championship picture, getting a title shot at Gunther on Saturday night's main event. That is in addition to Cody Rhodes defending the WWE Championship against Kevin Owens. And we also know that we'll get the finals of the United States, the Women's U.S. title tournament at Saturday night's main event. So this is shaping up to be a massive, massive show, which, we talked about that there had not been a PLE for December. You could argue that this is the PLE for December. And it's the same role that Saturday night's main event used to play. In the months where there were no PLEs, this would show up and kind of serve as that big event to pay attention to. So this will be something to watch. And as I mentioned, there is no PLE in December. There is no PLE in January. And following the formula, we found out today that Saturday night's main event will return in January. January 25th is the date. San Antonio, Texas, at the Frost Bank Center. And it will again be on NBC and Peacock, which I think will be fantastic for Saturday night's main event. Keep in mind, it will be a week before the Rumble, which means there will be a lot of strong implications on Saturday night's main event, both in December and January. So have no fear. It's not a PLE, but it is a PLE for the world to see on NBC. I'm not mad at that at all. And they're pulling out some really, really big things. Now, the one thing I am trying to figure out, and I'll be looking to get the answer to this, is how long the show will be. Will it be 90 minutes like it used to be? Will it be 2 hours? Will it even hit the 3-hour mark? I don't know. I will look that up and find that out. And we will know hopefully sooner than later. Now, one of the other things that we found out Monday night, we saw the very first round match in the Women's Intercontinental Championship tournament. It saw Dakota Kai defeat Shayna Baszler and Katana Chance. We also now have a look at the 12 women involved in the Intercontinental Championship tournament. Much like the Women's United States Tournament, it features 4 triple threat matches in the first round, which will then move to semifinals and finals. On the left side of the bracket, Dakota Kai will face the winner of the triple threat between Zoe Stark, Raquel Rodriguez, and Caden Carter. On the right-hand side, you have Lyra Valkyria, Zelina Vega, and Ivy Nile battling, and then Alba Fire, Kairi Sane, and Natalia. So, of these 12 women, who are you picking to be the inaugural Women's Intercontinental Champion?
Normally, I blame Cody for everything, but honey, this is your fault. You made this happen. You made this happen. You're the reason Natalia's in this tournament because you spoke it. This is your fault.
Wait a minute. That, in my defense, that wasn't my pick. That was what a friend of mine said. So I was. But
you said it on air, and it came true. Because I was not expecting her to be in this tournament.
There's a negative 5% chance that Natalia's a bracket buster. I'm just calling that right now. Natalia busts a bracket, I'll be very upset.
It's the first championship of its kind. It's finally the Women's Intercontinental Championship that we've wished that we've had for years. We've all talked about this. Why wouldn't you think that Natalia belongs in this tournament?
She gonna win this whole.
What has she done lately?
I'm not. Listen, I'm not back. Relax, easy there. I'm just saying, why wouldn't she be in this tournament? It's the first tournament of its kind. Of course, her name, especially with her years and her tenure in wrestling, like why wouldn't she be considered as one of these 12 women?
Sonya Deville should be there instead.
You want to tell the people of the WWT universe that Natalia's name moved units? Because it has never.
She's not even my pick anyway, so I don't know why y'all coming at me like this. I'm just saying.
Because you made this happen. We didn't have no bracket yet when you said this. A bracket has been made, and she got a spot.
All the women we have in this roster, you don't think we should have a bracket for this? Y'all bugging. This is the Intercontinental Championship.
I think about credibility and Natalia name don't come up.
You're bugging. She has more years than all of these women in here.
She's sharp.
She's got more time. More time.
My God, I don't want to hear it. Anyway, who's y'all pick? Because she's not my pick.
Oh, this hard. This hard.
Mm-hmm.
Just picking one, Professor.
Yeah, you're picking the winner. Pick your winner.
I'll go Alba Fire.
That's a good choice. That's a good choice.
I'm going Lyra Valkyria.
That too is a good choice.
Yeah.
Courtney?
I'm sorry.
You just took my first pick, Councilman. But I'm going to take Zoe Stark as my pick.
That is also a good.
She definitely
pick.
went in that triple threat match. She'd been on it.
Yeah.
That's going to be really good. All right, honey. I think we know, but please let us know.
It's the boat.
No, not
the boat.
I am not picking the boat.
That's
contrary to what others might believe or think while listening and watching this particular episode. But y'all know I'm going with the homies Zelina Vega. There's no other person for me on this roster.
Well, Zelina,
you don't feel like Zelina and Ivy are going to cancel each other out with the American Made and LWO stuff?
Zelina Vega is my pick.
Listen,
I'm just thinking process of elimination and all of this.
So I do think that in terms of a final four, I definitely like Dakota, Zoe, Alba, and Lyra. And that's a pick 'em. I like the idea of Dakota Kai, but I've wanted Zoe Stark to get a singles title for a long time now. There's a great case for Lyra Valkyria, given what she did as NXT Women's Champion. But then there's Alba Fire, the forever NXT UK Women's Champion. 685 days, like, good Lord. So I think
because of the name change. And
so Alba Fire, Kaylee Ray, like, I will say this. I think we have potential for a very special tournament. Now, I just have to ask the question. Now that we have the Women's Intercontinental Championship tournament, the Women's U.S. title tournament, here's the question. Which is the stronger field?
Right now, I'm going to say because of how this bracket is set, this one. Because all of these women have the potential to win this title and finally showcase. And again, not all of them, because you know.
I was gonna say, don't lie.
No. Because like
you give me
no. Because again, like a lot of these women are hitting this wall as it comes to like becoming the women's world champion. It's like it feels like they just missing something. Them being the women's intercontinental champion makes them show like, oh, okay, you know what? Now we can see it. And y'all being the women's world champion. And to show that it's more, I don't want to say they knew, kind of like in the middle, like the veteran is Natalya, but the rest of them, it's like, you know, they fresh. Like we haven't seen them like really make their stamp in WWE yet like that. You know, as opposed to the US, you got Bayley, you got Bianca, you got legends in that one. Right now, you still got up and comers that can become legends in this one. So I feel like this one, you're gonna have a hungrier roster of people wanting to go for the women's intercontinental title. Because if Selena don't win, best believe she's not gonna stop till she get that title.
She's gonna win.
Okay.
The vote is gonna win.
Courtney, who do you think has the stronger field, the Intercontinental Championship tournament or the U.S. title tournament?
Doing the boat. Row your boat gently down the street.
I can't.
I'm actually gonna go with this Intercontinental Championship match only because on SmackDown, we're familiar with some of the ladies that are competing for the U.S. title: Bayley, Bianca, Chelsea. A lot of those women that we're familiar with, and they do have the capability of being a future champion. This is a good opportunity for some of the females on Raw because we haven't seen a lot of them be in singles action. We normally see them in tag team action. So this is a really good opportunity for them to do single wise. Like this was one of the first time we see Katana Chance in singles action. One of the few times that we're going to see Dakota Kai in singles action. Also for Kaden Carter as well. She's going to be in singles action too. So it also gives them a good opportunity to stand out personality wise and get to learn about them in a deeper dive. Plus, throughout all the matches, we're going to see a lot of different wrestling styles from all the participants in the Intercontinental Championship tournament.
No love for Isla Dawn, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what spot got who got that spot?
Roll. Yeah, so it's gonna be I'm excited about this tournament for sure, and we'll keep our eyes for this. Now, all of this talk about Raw leads us to something that happened earlier today that I'm very, very excited about. The WWE went to Netflix's headquarters in LA to talk about Raw coming to Netflix. And as you can see in this picture, there's a lot of star power in this picture. Pretty much all of your champions, Cody Rhodes, you've got Bianca Belair, you've got the women's world champion in there. But there's also some legends sprinkled in there. If you look kind of deeply, you've got, of course, Rey Mysterio over there. But then on the right-hand side, you've got one Becky Lynch, which is very interesting because all the talk about whether she's signed to WWE or not, she's not coming to do WWE press for Netflix if she's not signed.
Like, duh.
And if there's no expectation for her to show up on this program on Netflix. So there was a lot of conversation involving Triple H, involving Nick Khan. And one of the big questions is, what will Raw on Netflix look like? A lot of people have talked about, since it's going to Netflix, it's going to change to TV 14, rated R, etc. Well, Nick Khan specifically said, and I quote, we are not changing the rating of our program. There's online chatter about it being R-rated or X-rated. That's definitely not happening. It's family-friendly, multi-generational, advertiser-friendly programming. It's going to stay that way. I would look for more global flair, especially as the relationships continue to develop.
So what you're saying is we not getting.
Oh, what you looking? Oh, wait. Oh, no. Unfortunately,
we not getting this on Netflix. Is what you're saying?
We're not.
All right.
And all the people who thought that they were getting Seth something other than freaking Rollins, not getting that either.
I'm still saying. I'm
course.
still saying because we on Netflix now. I may be in my room when I say it, but I'm gonna say
funny.
it.
That's actually funny. Jeffrey referencing Becky Lynch says she's definitely re-signing. I will go further than that. I will say she's already re-signed.
I also
for
say
like 10 more years.
We see her on that Raw.
Oh, I have no doubt about that. I have no doubt about that. She's definitely going to be on that Raw. I don't know if she'll be wrestling, but she'll certainly appear at the very least.
I think we may get an announcement. I'm just calling it now. Liv and Becky, Saturday night main event, January 25th in San Antonio.
So you're making the assumption that Liv is going to beat Io?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yes. Io just went babyface. Like, it ain't. We on the road to WrestleMania. All right. Yeah. Nah. It's going to be a great match. Io's not beating Liv.
I think
Maybe we'll discuss that fully next week because I feel a little bit differently about that. But with all of that said, there was also conversation, of course, about the performance of Netflix in live situations. There was talk about, some of the additional content that will be coming onto Netflix, including a number of documentaries and the like. But here's what's really interesting here. There was questions about the potential relationship with the WWE and Peacock. So their deal with Peacock is scheduled to end in 2026. Nick Khan said the following. He says, quote, Peacock is our incumbent partner, and we're always going to respect our incumbent's rights in the relationship we have there. So we'll have those conversations with them in 2025, and we'll see what shakes up. So there is the possibility that if 2026 Peacock things end, if talks go well in 2025, WWE could stay with them. If not, Netflix could potentially become the home of everything for WWE, excluding SmackDown and NXT. Now, I know there's still talks that have to happen in 2025, but do you think Peacock will be able to continue hosting the WWE network once we get to 2026, or does it all head to Netflix? Honey, we'll start with you.
That's a good question. I mean, they have worked up a really lucrative deal with Netflix, and they did really well with Peacock, considering, how consistent they've been with, the content that they've released there. But I mean, if I was Peacock, I'd want to try to hold on to that relationship. I think that's the WWE section and on Peacock is a huge part of your audience, believe it or not. Especially if you want to get more than just the casual fans, if you want to get those who've been watching for a long time, you're enticing us with things like Saturday Night Main Event in between the Royal Rumble, and having two of them in between the Royal Rumble, creating that nostalgia factor and things like that. So a lot of us, and even for us, in our millennial years and such, I think that if I was Peacock, I'd want to try to hold on to that relationship with WWE, being that they've done so well with it. But that Netflix is a huge, huge streaming competitor, so you never know, man. They could just come in and swoop WWE right up, especially with this new deal and seeing how they do with it.
What do you think, Councilman? Does Peacock keep WWE once we get to 2026?
I'm looking at Peacock right now. Peacock better keep WWE on here. There ain't nothing. You know, the first thing pop up: St. Dennis Medical and Twister. That and Chicago.
I hear that's a very good. I hear that's a very good show, by the way.
It is. It's like the new Scrubs.
Yeah,
I've enjoyed it, but yeah, ain't a lot on here going on like that. Like, I really only tune into Peacock really for WWE and some of the exclusives. So if Peacock is smart, man, keep this going. And I even too just, I guess, a little bit more curious as to how Netflix would handle having all of that content onto them, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think I've ever seen them with like a collection like that on Netflix, or maybe I'm wrong, but like that's a lot. Like, because like again, and then just correct me, Professor. Like, if Netflix picks it up, does that mean they have everything? Like all the past PLEs, all of the old shows are now all going to be on Netflix?
It would be a scenario where certainly the WWE network would go to Netflix. The question then would be, what content would they circle off and things like that? Because there are certain pieces of content, for instance, that have been circled off of Peacock and the like. So it just depends. And who knows if Netflix might, extend the bandwidth that they have to accommodate WWE in that regard. I have an interesting stat for you guys, which may help determine whether or not Peacock continues this relationship. Not sure if you knew this or not, but WrestleMania 40 was the most streamed entertainment ever on Peacock. The most streamed entertainment event ever on Peacock. Something to the tune of 1.3 billion minutes over WrestleMania weekend. That's not even talking about who's gone back to watch WrestleMania 40. So there's definitely, I think, a strong investment from Peacock to be able to keep the WWE and its network on there. We will certainly see. Any thoughts on that, Mayor?
Honestly, I think it's beneficial for both sides to keep the relationship going. From a Peacock standpoint, there's not a large archive of shows that I guess are really moving the numbers like that, outside of like the occasional NFL game this season. The Olympics this past summer was streamed through Peacock and NBC. So I think the relationship is beneficial for both sides. I think Peacock will do whatever they can to keep the WWE in the fold. And also, the status quo might be beneficial for the WWE because they know it has been fruitful. A lot of subscribers have already been there. But also, like with the issues we saw recently with the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fight, the Netflix servers might cause a lot more issues than we are ready to actually admit. So moving your entire catalog and library over might prove to be a lot more difficult, which I'm pretty sure they'll be trialing that throughout 2025.
It'll be interesting to see. Again, I think Netflix was built for an on-demand situation, so I don't think that having the catalog would be a huge issue. I think the live events will be more of the concern, but again, if that audience turns to 60 million people, that's a problem Triple H and the rest of the company would not mind having. So We'll certainly see what happens with this, but we are well on the road, and here's a scary thought. We are 1 month and 2 days away from the premiere of Raw on Netflix.
Amazing. Can't wait.
I got another number for you. Are you ready for this?
Oh, boy.
There are only 4 more episodes of Monday Night Raw on the USA Network.
Wow.
4.
Wow.
Damn.
That really hits you, especially when you were there to see the very first one on USA Network.
It's a crazy thought. A crazy thought. So we
Makes
really
me kinda
are
sad.
entering a new era. Now, one of the other pieces of news that came out of this conversation on Netflix is that this guy, Pat McAfee, is coming back to Raw. And he's coming back apparently for good. That's what Triple H said today. So he did not tell us whether this would mean a 3-man booth, if it'll mean a 2-man booth. We do know he'll be back at some point in 2025. So it'll be very interesting to see. Now, what's even more intriguing is to see, does he end up on Netflix on Raw and without Michael Cole? Does Michael Cole get moved? I mean, one of the big benefits to a Pat McAfee is a Michael Cole.
Yeah.
Those two kind of work extremely well together.
They're the best.
So we will have to watch and see. I'm not sure that this will happen exactly on January 6th, but somewhere in 2025, McAfee will be back with WWT.
Y'all don't think he'll kill it with George Tessitore?
Oh, he might.
I think it'll be good because I feel like he'll go to Raw because I don't know if this is true or not, but I think we might be getting like set up for that Wade and Drew beef that's gonna happen. I think we about to have that manifest, and so guess who got to take Wade's place on the table?
Nah, somehow, some way, I want Graves and Booker T
for Raw,
for NXT. Somehow.
Graves and Booker T.
I just want Graves back. Period. But that's a whole nother topic.
And he on SmackDown?
No, I mean back as a wrestler.
Or he's on SmackDown
as a wrestler.
Oh, you want him back as a wrestler?
As a talent.
I've heard he's been cleared. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, since last year, I think.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So this will all be fun to watch for sure. Now, I know you didn't think we weren't going to talk about NXT.
Wait.
Last night, it became much.
Lose it, you never win.
Oh, boy!
That stuff is.
Yeah!
Both of them.
Much clearer what Deadline would look like. And we have to talk about this moment here.
Oh, yeah.
NXT began with a fatal 4-way for the final spot in the Women's Iron Survivor match. And Jada Parker was a part of that match, but there was interference coming from Lola Vice. Jada Parker sidesteps it. This was actually quite brilliant. Lola Vice hits that spin fist on Ren Sinclair. Sinclair falls down and gets the pin, and Ren Sinclair is heading to the Iron Survivor match, which should be special. But it was then after that we got one of the wildest moments, I think, in NXT history. Jada Parker basically telling the referees, take the ropes down. We're doing underground right now. Gets in the ring and has a few choice words to say to Lola Vice. And I'm not sure that the people in the 7-second room were ready for for Jada Parker to have her say, proving why she is indeed the front woman of OTM. And so here's the question, and I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off and come right to the mayor. Who wins? Well, firstly, your thoughts on what happened last night, because not just did that happen, but Lola Vice
got knocked the hell
knocked out.
Thank you for finishing that for me. Thank you, because it was coming. No, it was perfect. It was perfect.
I couldn't hold it in.
It was
I'm
perfect.
Sorry. I was excited.
As Jada Parker didn't even use the brick. She used her bare fists. Knocked out Lola Vice.
A spinning back one too.
Mayor, what do you make of that? And what happened Saturday night?
I wanted to point out one very interesting detail before I go into my diatribe is that both of my clients knocked out their opponent with a back strike yesterday. And there's a certain superstar on the WWE roster that I've never seen their back fist knock out anybody.
Why are you doing this? Yo, she's about to appear. Why are you doing this? Oh my gosh.
So my clients' backhands are strong. That's all I'm saying. They knock opponents out. So let's rip the Band-Aid off. Jada Parker is up 1-0 on Lola. Won the hardcore match or the Philadelphia street fight. Lola is undefeated in the underground. She beat Natalya. She beat Shayna Baszler. We've seen this dance before. Before we got the underground match with Shayna, Lola got choked out. Did she not? She got choked out the week of, after she turned on Shayna. We're going to see an underdog moment because this is Lola's match. I expect Lola to win handily. Me and the councilman had discussed this. I don't know if it'll quite be a wash because Jada got some juice right now. I'm not going to lie. And I think there's more money in a best of 3. I don't think we'll get a Melo Andrade best of 7. That'd be overkill. But I know we're going to get a best of 3. And this is going to be a moment where you see, hopefully, a more violent side of Lola. I think since the Roxanne match, there's been a lot of humbling moments for Lola where there's the dancing and stuff like that. You see some of the edge, but I think that moment right there, getting knocked out in a ropeless ring, I think that's going to give her her edge. I expect nothing more than a Lola to win this match violently. And then the third match, I don't know what it'll be, but I know there's going to be a third match between these two. And then I expect them to make up. I expect to see them become another tag team after that. But this has been one of the best storylines they can tell throughout NXT. Doesn't involve a title. Just involves 2 people that want to be next up, essentially. This, you know what? I'm just going to say this. This is my Rock Austin right here. This is my Rock Austin in NXT right here. This is like literally the future of the NXT women's division right here in this match. So this is going to be a statement match. I'm glad that they got a PLE match. And then what we see next, if it's just a regular singles match, but both superstars are being elevated to new heights as a result of this rivalry, and I love it.
Okay.
Jada, you messed up, baby. I can't help you. I can pay the fine, but I can't help you come Sunday.
Courtney, you have any thoughts on this one?
Pretty much, I was watching the councilman and he kind of described it very well with his reaction. But since I started watching these 2 ladies on NXT, it has gotten a lot physical with them. And also they had a lot of chemistry with each other since they kind of know each other very well. But this is going to be a very interesting match this weekend because it's going to be in the underground. I don't expect none of them to hold back any punches. It's going to be physical. And also, this is an interesting rivalry, especially with the ladies of NXT that I enjoyed. So I'm very excited on these girls are going to hold it down on Saturday and also continuing that rivalry after Deadline.
Honey?
Man, I just love the growth in both of these ladies. I love what they've shown me, especially with how with them working together, both as a tag team and individually going one-on-one. Rock Austin, okay. I don't know. I'm not sure how well this is gonna go for Jada Parker, considering, like you said, Professor, she did get knocked out, and
you mean Lola Vice?
I mean, excuse me, Lola. Yeah, because she did get knocked out last week, so she's gonna be looking up on Saturday, looking for blood. She's gonna be a shark in the water, for sure. So Jada, I know she's definitely gonna be on the defense, but I think she's gonna hold herself down. This match could easily not have a winner unless there has to be a pin. There has to be a pin or submission, correct?
I think it's submission or knockout.
Yeah,
submission or knockout. Okay. Well, I feel like this could even get to a point where we don't even get a winner because these two are just going to be at each other's throats and they're going to be giving it all they got, fight to the death. Two gladiator women. I think it's going to be tough. And Lola's it will give also a reason for Lola to want to make sure that she keeps that underground reign.
Councilman?
Let's not forget Jada Parker knocked out a former MMA fighter. And I said this at the beginning of her career. You never want to mess with a woman that wears black Air Force Ones down to the ring. Do not count this woman out. Is she gonna win? Probably not. Probably not. This is an underground match. This is Lola's world. But if I'm being honest, one, very glad that this is on the PLE. To Mayor's point, very glad that this made this here. I'm so glad that it went on NXT. These women do deserve that. I even mentioned in the watch along yesterday that along with her, Kalani Jordan, and Cora Jade, not the next set, but like if the original horsewomen, the next set of them, and then this third one, that's where they all at. The future generation from NXT, those are going to be the ones that's going to carry NXT after, my client is gone, the international sensations, they are going to be the ones that's going to dominate NXT. But I don't think Lola is going to win clean. I think Lola is going to knock Jada out with a brick and then start going for the pound fist down, and then that's how she wins. I don't think she's gonna give a solid victory in the underground. I think Jada is gonna bring something that's gonna force her to have to fight dirty, which leads us to the third one. And it's got to be some kind of match that has no weapons, no nothing, that requires a legitimate winner. So it can either be a submission match or a last woman standing match.
I got another prediction because he brings up the brick, which is very important that we saw that in the Philadelphia NXT. I imagine it's going to be on the center of the show, or the ladies might. I don't think the ladies will book in this weekend because I actually didn't see the trick stuff, but I think it'll be the center of the show. There will be blood and there will be a tooth knocked out. That's my prediction in this match.
Yeah. Jada dropped the N-bomb and 3 B words. Something real about to happen. Something real is about to happen in this match.
Wow. Well, I will say this. I do think there's going to be a third match. And I think there's going to be a third match because Lola can't beat Jada. Jada's going to win the underground. She's going to win the underground. You don't think she's going to
3P it? You don't think Lola going to 3P it?
Nope. Here's the story that most of us are missing. Most of us, are accustomed to, 1-and-1, you got to get your lick back, that type of thing. But there's a prevailing story that's been happening in several spaces. And that is like for instance, Monday night with Seth and Sammy, they fought 6 times. Seth has won 5 out of the 6 times.
So can I ask you something, Mayor? I mean, not Mayor, Professor.
Yes.
With what you've seen for this, do you think we get enough of this if we go past 3? Let's say we go past 3. Could we stretch this rivalry till Stand and Deliver?
Sure. I think you could. I think it's one of those things where it wouldn't be like they have a match every week or even an interaction. I think it's one of those spaces where after this, they go do something else, but then they find their way back in some kind of way. Perhaps Jada, has forgotten about Lola, and Jada ends up in this shot for the North American Championship. And, she's right about there. And then here comes Lola. We're talking about what has the potential. And I will agree with Mayor on this. We're talking about the potential of a long-term rivalry here, the kind of rivalry that goes on for years. And it's not that they fight each other every week. It's that, it's like Seth and Roman. They haven't fought in years, but they don't like each other in the first chance they get. That's why Seth ends up joining with Cody for WrestleMania 40. So I think we've got spaces where this, and think about this, we haven't seen much of this happening on the women's side. We've seen it on the men's. We've not seen it on the, and even if you go back to the black and gold days of NXT, what we saw with the Charlotte and Becky and Sasha, and they weren't like going hard. They weren't going hard, not to the point where, 10 years later, they're still fighting. It wasn't like that. So I think we have the potential to see a rivalry of this nature that really goes on for quite some time. So I think this will be fun. Boza says he doesn't see her winning a Lola specialty. I think that's why she wins it. Because it's Lola's specialty. I mean, I think that's
because you thought it was gonna be her specialty.
Just like with Andrade and Carmelo, you didn't see it going out the way that it did all the way to 7. And just like I said with these two, neither one of them has won titles yet. So now this is a race of not only just what we're seeing here, but these are probably two of the best PC products in the women's division that have come out of there. And so it's going to be a race. They are now going to be here throughout their career. So if Jada wins a title first, you know that's going to be thrown back like, yo, I won a title before you. Yeah, but I won the NXT women's title before you did. And I took it. I went up before you did. Yeah, but I was in WrestleMania before you.
I would say I would say more Triple H and The Rock as opposed to Austin and The Rock.
I would go Triple H and Rock as well, because we saw them fight for the Intercontinental title and kind of all come up, and then came, the Manias and the world title and all the things. This is going to be great. Now, some other things that we learned who would face the tag team champions. It was a tag team battle royal, and the No Quarter Catch crew, Bourne and Heights, get the opportunity at the tag titles. I kind of like this, to be honest with you. And there's a part of me that feels like this is finally time for Fraxium to lose the tag titles. Now, we'll do our official roll through on Deadline on Friday, but
why Xavier Heights render look like this, man?
I don't know who's doing these now.
They got him looking like No Way Jose. I don't like it.
I don't know who's doing this stuff lately, but y'all need to holler at me. Because I was wondering that all the day. Like, yo, who did these? Who threw these filters on them like this? What is going on?
That is hilarious. But I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be a great tag team title match. On the men's side, we found out that Eddie Thorpe will be the 5th man going into the men's Iron Survivor Challenge.
Wesley and then on like that no more.
Is he?
Yes, he is. He won.
Are we sure?
Well, he got jumped last night.
Did you catch the end of NXT?
Oh, I missed the very end.
Eddie was laid out, nose busted open. Someone attacked Eddie Thorpe in NXT.
Yep.
Well, that will be and speaking of people who may or may not make it, will Trick make it to Deadline after he got attacked last night and taken away in an ambulance by Ridge Holland, thanks to Eric Bischoff stirring up the pot. So this is going to be something fantastic. And then for the women, as we mentioned, Ren Sinclair gets into this star-studded, and I mean, can you have a more stacked women's Iron Survivor? And I think Vic Joseph might have let the cat out of the bag by saying he believes that this will main event the show, which by all means it should.
Yes.
Because nothing's following this Saturday night.
If Trick close the show, I'm going to stop watching NXT. If Trick and Ridge close the show, Deadline, I'm done.
Well, not for I hope Ren Sinclair prepares her body for the amount of bumps she's going to take on Saturday.
Yo, hey, listen. Y'all say that, man. Listen,
is it crazy that I think Ren can win?
I think Ren can win too.
I do
think
too.
She can.
I think Ren got the biggest
good luck on her side.
Ren has the biggest opportunity. No, I'm losing the word, but she need this out of all of them. This would skyrocket Ren Sinclair right now.
Yeah, she is really starting to come into her own with No Quarter Catch crew, and she really, because this is one of those kinds of matches where it's more about strategy than it is being dominant. She could sneak a couple of pins in and just, keep everybody else from pinning each other. This could be a real thing.
All thanks to a back fist. Asuka could never.
Wow.
You did not say her name.
And
like that.
I know how you go disrespect twice.
You did not say her name like that.
Man.
Dang.
So we found out from TNA today, they had put out a poll on X giving people the opportunity to vote should they have a major pay-per-view in New York or Los Angeles. And today they said, well, we'll do both. And they are going to have 2 major pay-per-views in 2025 in those cities. So here's how it's going. The Rebellion pay-per-view will happen on April 27th. It'll happen on the campus of USC. That's going to be the LA stop. And Slammiversary, oh, this is interesting. Slammiversary is going to be on July 20th at the UBS Arena in New York, Belmont Park specifically. Why I find this interesting is the UBS Arena is also a venue that has been used by AEW. Interesting. Interesting to me. But what are your thoughts, guys, on TNA announcing pay-per-views in New York and LA for 2025? Councilman, you are smiling.
I apologize because I'm an a-hole. I apologize because as soon as you said this, the first thing I thought was major is a strong word for TNA. Major pay-per-view?
Wait a minute. Wait.
I don't think I'm an a-hole for that. I'm an a-hole for that. That's not true at all. I just said that was the first thing popped in my head, and I was being an a-hole for that.
Slammiversary is one of their biggest pay-per-views of the year.
It is.
Slammiversary and Bound for Glory. Those are their 2 big pay-per-views for the year. And Rebellion's a big one as well.
I would actually love to be at a TNA wrestling event. I feel like it is one of those that because it's not televised, you missed out on it. But I feel like because of the dedicated fans that they have, I feel like you would have a fantastic time there, especially at a pay-per-view, because you never know what's going to happen, especially like one that is Slammiversary. So I would love to check that off of my wrestling bucket list to actually be at a TNA event. And the fact that they come into Los Angeles, I'm like, you know what? I might have to be up in there.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think that's a great idea. Mayor, your thoughts?
Did they? I'm sorry if I didn't hear it, but did they announce the LA venue?
Yes, the LA venue is going to be at USC, and I believe it is called
the Coliseum.
It's going to be at the Galen Center. The Galen. Center.
So the basketball.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's still good. Yeah, that's still a big space.
Yeah, that's home to the basketball team and the volleyball team, and apparently the annual Kids' Choice Awards from Nickelodeon has originated from the Galen Center as well.
Yeah, it's always a good look if you can go to the top 2 markets in the nation. I think that's really good.
The UBS Arena, for those curious, also happens to be the home of the New York Islanders in hockey. So these are some pretty significant venues. So I'm excited for TNA. Congratulations for them. Tickets are going on sale for these events December 20th. So if someone wants to hook up people with nice Christmas gifts, a great TNA pay-per-view. And again, the momentum that TNA has been on these last couple of years, I think has been nothing short of special. So congratulations to them. So there's this interesting post that was out there. About a certain Karrion Kross, who, many have been looking at his work right now with the Wyatt Six. But there's a post that's out there that kind of believes that the thread between people like Drew McIntyre, Shinsuke Nakamura, AJ Styles, The Miz, and now the New Day all has to deal with Karrion Kross. Each of these wrestlers have apparently stepped up to Karrion Kross and slowly but surely have embraced their dark side. Now, is this a wrestling conspiracy theory? Or are we looking at cinema in front of our eyes that's so obvious we can't see it?
Listen, I don't like to throw this out, but if you want to know if the devil walks the earth.
It's
That
Karrion Kross.
That
Wow.
That
Wow.
guy. Hey, you see Scarlett right there with him. Like, I don't think that's a conspiracy theory. Like, you've seen it. Like, these cats change after they deal with Karrion Kross. I just don't think it'd be as publicized as they normally would put all these other stories. But yeah, man. Or you know what? That's a little too Darth Vader. We'll do a Star Wars reference. Sith. And he is definitely having them turn the blue lightsaber to the red lightsaber.
Honey?
Oh man, I love it. I've been waiting for this. As soon as I saw it as one of the topics, I was like, yes, please, we need to talk about this. I absolutely love this. This is pure, legit storytelling on all fronts. It's so funny to think that this had started technically when Karrion Kross showed up and attacked Drew McIntyre. And, you know, years ago, we're thinking, oh, just a random attack. They had the strap match at Extreme Rules. After that, Drew McIntyre has descended into the madness of, you know, wanting to get rid of CM Punk and being humiliated at home and things like that. Shinsuke Nakamura, same thing. AJ Styles, same thing. And you know what's funny? Every single one of them, even down to the Miz and Kofi Kingston, every single one of them are world champions. That's also crazy, a pretty crazy fact. I think this is like, now that we've seen that post and the pieces are unfolding before us, it's like, okay, I see what you're doing. We cannot forget that when this man arrived on NXT, despite how they booked him in the Vince era and everything like that, when he showed up on NXT, you knew that he was destined to be one of Triple H's NXT GOAT children of the future. And he is reminding us of that and the real reason why he signed him, as well as Scarlett. And the story with the Wyatt Six has only just helped boost that even more, because now we're at a crossroads, pun intended. We're at a crossroads with Karrion Kross, literally, and it's like, now how do you make the madman slip into the dark side when he embraces the dark side? So now I think that's a really cool plot twist in storytelling with looking at Karrion Kross's character, but he's got his hands full. This is Uncle Howdy we're talking about. This is another kind of entity. This isn't just Bo Dallas. This is Uncle Howdy invoking the spirit of his brother and you know, the work of his brother, and they're doing so well with it. And I think both of them literally right now with this storyline, Kross and Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas, however you want to say it, they're at the right place at the right time. They are the perfect fit, and there's just going to be a lot of craziness that I'm sure is going to come out of this whole match.
I want to see Karrion invade the Funhouse without his knowledge.
Man, listen.
I want to see it go that far, because, like you said, it's a race. Who can go the darkest?
And what's crazy is that it will probably be Uncle Howdy to win that, because Karrion Kross can destroy the Funhouse all he wants. It's already been destroyed many times and reinvented itself many times. So
true, but Bray ain't here no more. So how much does that mean to Bo? And what does that turn Bo into if it is destroyed? Because now I'm sure he holds that as something sacred. And for Karrion Kross to invade it, because remember, we've seen just the Wyatts come after him. We've yet to see like Karrion on the offense of this.
Right. They've only started with his most precious prized possession, which is Scarlett, his wife. And that's a perfect way to kick it off.
Yeah, I look forward to see how deep they're going to take us down this rabbit hole. Because if you don't embrace your dark side, you're going to end up like a bear cat, like Keith Lee, because he didn't embrace his dark side.
I've been telling you guys, keep an eye on Karrion Kross. I've been saying it since April. I'm like, there's something that we're not seeing with Karrion Kross, and I'm just so happy it's finally coming to light.
It's actually exciting to see that there are so many stories that are happening in the space of WWE that we can really sink our teeth into, that are apart from championships and the bloodline. That is a major statement to the strength of what's happening in the WWE right now. And it's only going to get crazier with Raw on Netflix in just a couple of weeks. And then all that's going to happen in 2025. Very, very excited for this.
Episodes of Raw.
4 more episodes
That
of
made me
Raw
sad. That really made
on
me
USA.
sad. I'm like, damn, only 4.
You know what hasn't happened with him yet? Because the cool thing about Cross is that it supersedes wins and losses, and the fans really have to pay attention. I love that fans are following along because he co-signs this stuff on social as well, showing that he is doing this. But what would be really cool, because the one person he feuded with that hasn't turned yet, Rey Mysterio. Now, if somehow we get Filthy Animals Rey Mysterio in 2025,
I beg to differ. I beg to differ on that.
Because
he's deadbeat Mysterio now. But then also too, if we really and I hate to say it like this, but if you think about it, Ray holds all of LWO back. So technically, you did become a villain. You just aren't aware of it. And remember, he said, I would never strike my son ever, no matter what he did. And what happened? Oh, he struck him multiple times.
He struck him.
Had a whole match.
So, and I think just from the fact that it would probably be a little harder for us to digest Mysterio going full heel, but to see like you're a heel and that you're more becoming a problem than being a solution. And that still goes to the effect that carrying can have on you. It's like, yo, you do leave differently after you've dealt with him.
Right. And you know what? I'm going to just say this. Thank you very much for the Karrion Kross effect, because I love this Shinsuke Nakamura so much.
So do I.
So much. I don't want him to lose
ever.
Yo,
like, it's so good.
So I'm throwing this out there. I know it's wild. Just go with me. What if Karrion stripped Cody of the title? And that's how we get heel Cody.
Oh, man.
Imagine if he decides to put his focus onto him. Or even a Gunther. Because like he said, he's beat world champions. What happens when he goes after a world champion?
a current world champion, right?
And we're seeing Gunther change a little bit now, just dealing with Damian and them. So just imagine what happens if this theory really is like what we giving it. What happens when he actually puts his eyes on a title?
Oh, TikTok.
Here's what's equally interesting. It was also said that before Karrion Kross showed up, that this was the Bray Wyatt effect.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes this even more interesting. Who's really the carrier of Bray's legacy? Is it Karrion Kross or is it Uncle Howdy?
Yo, man.
Because there's a video that Karrion Kross did on Twitter that questioned everything about the Wyatts and said that he didn't believe that Bray would have wanted this.
Mm-hmm. Yo,
Ooh,
just imagine a vignette of Karrion Kross talking to him, and it's like, don't worry, you're gonna feel it. And then he got the gloves on.
Oh my God.
The possibilities are endless.
And what's crazy about it is like Uncle Howdy, you know, the tapes, the codes and things like that. Karrion Kross is like, hold my beer, because I've been doing this. Because not for nothing, Karrion Kross puts out really good material on his socials, and he has not missed. He never misses. Yeah. I love it, and I've always felt like people should look into it more, and I'm so happy people finally are.
These are fun times for sure. We love to see it. All right, so we're getting ever so close to where I think Courtney will find great comfort, and that is in the land of the elite. So let's talk about this change that's happened at the Continental Classic. Continental Classic officially began last Wednesday night. And one of the matches that actually happened this past Saturday on Collision involved Juice Robinson taking on Will Ospreay. Well, what most people did not realize is as a result of that match, Juice Robinson will no longer be in the Continental Classic. Apparently, during the match, he suffered a broken fibula
Dang, man.
in the match. And given the seriousness of the injury, apparently the injury occurred roughly 3 minutes into the match, and he continued the match with Ospreay, and you know how Ospreay goes. So there's not a timetable right now on the return of Juice Robinson. We certainly wish him well and a speedy recovery. The irony that both he and his wife Toni Storm are both out, Storm claiming retirement, and I don't know that I'll believe that until she doesn't wrestle for a while. Our thoughts and prayers are with Juice Robinson. So that leaves an available spot in the Continental Classic. That spot goes to Commander, and it gives us this Friday Ricochet versus Commander in the Gold League. Now, Courtney, I'm going to ask you this question. Juice Robinson, of course, lost his match on Saturday, so he did not gain any points. How do you think Commander coming into the Gold League changes what could happen in the Gold League?
This was actually very fascinating when I watched it, because given the fact that Commander has had a showing the last couple weeks, he had a match with Leo Rush, he's had a match with Kyle Fletcher, and just seeing the action in there. And plus, I don't want him to be as much of a filler in the Continental Classic, because they had to think like, oh, okay, who can be put in there, because some of their other guys are involved in other storylines. But it also gives an opportunity for Commander to really be in this tournament as well and really showcase different styles outside of being a luchador, being up against matches that maybe he hasn't been before. Of course, on the Gold League, he'll possibly go over the match with, I don't know, maybe Brody King, Darby Allin, Will Ospreay could be a potential one in the future. So this will really be an opportunity for Commander stock to increase a little bit. If a lot of people have not been paying attention to AEW, but most specifically Dynamite and on Rampage that he was able to wrestle in.
Let me pose this question to you, Honey, because here's who else is in the Gold League. It is Darby Allin, Claudio Castagnoli, Will Ospreay, Ricochet, and Brody King. Seeing that Juice already fought Will Ospreay, we won't see Commander against Will Ospreay. We will see him battle every other member of the Gold League. So that includes, of course, Ricochet, Darby Allin, Claudio, and Brody King. How many wins, based on these other matches that I just mentioned, do you think Commander gets?
You said Darby Allin, Ricochet.
Darby Allin, Ricochet, Claudio, and Brody King. So it's Brody 4 more matches.
Oh, that's crazy. That's a pretty wild list. A definite one I would say that he's getting a loss on is Claudio.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't help but feel that anybody affiliated with Moxley's on fire right now, and I wouldn't want to mess with them anyway. Let me see. And maybe Brody King. Maybe I think that's where Brody King becomes the truck stop that Commander wish he would end, because Brody King is just too powerful. So I feel like those two would be pretty good losses.
Yeah, this is going to be fun to watch, to see how this works. Again, everyone will have 5 matches. And speaking of the Continental Classic, it continues tonight. And let me just preface what I'm about to say by saying, on paper, I think that Dynamite may give us, at least on paper, one of its best cards. Because this, just follow me here.
Mm-hmm.
Blue League.
Mm-hmm.
Shelton Benjamin and Kyle Fletcher.
This is absurd.
I'm just thinking of the commentary right now. I know Don Callis is going to be on commentary, but I'm just trying to imagine him and MVP on commentary. I'm just trying to imagine that.
I don't know if MVP will hop on commentary, and I don't know if it's a smart move for Don Callis to be on commentary. This is a marquee match right here. Kyle Fletcher, who, of course, just defeated Will Ospreay at the pay-per-view. Kyle Fletcher just got his first round win. Both of these guys won their first round matches. They both have 3 points. This is going to be a crazy match. But then you also in the Gold League, Brody King and Claudio Castagnoli. Both of them have their first 3 points as well, representing the Gold League. Pac and Jay White.
This is wild.
This is like a pay-per-view tonight, guys.
Yo, where was this when y'all went head to head with NXT?
This is my question. This is my question.
And wait a minute, really quick. Before this, you had Brody King versus Claudio, right?
Claudio, yes.
Which could then make way to have a House of Black versus Moxley and his crew. Like, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I like to see.
Yeah, this is a wild card, guys. And then you get Swerve and Max Caster. This is gonna cook, guys.
Random but dope.
This is gonna. There is a story connected to this one, and I think we're really finally starting to see a heel turn for Max Caster, which makes me very happy. Makes a lot of sense, all things considered. Anna Jay taking on Penelope Ford, kind of 2 AEW originals here, and then we'll get to hear from Jamie Hayter. So a very full card tonight on Dynamite. Lots of action matches. I mean, this really, to your point there, Jeffrey, I'm telling you, it's a pay-per-view that's happening tonight on Dynamite.
Legit. Yes.
So you get a chance to check that out. Of course, Courtney will be here doing the watch along, which kicks off in about a little under 30 minutes. So we're going to give her a chance to hydrate and get some energy and the like. Here's how you can reach out to all of us on these good socials. Honey.
You guys can find me here Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays with WWT. Fridays, we have our Honey Night SmackDown watch along. Everything Wrestling with Honey on the socials, Wrestling with Honey, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and the Wrestling with Honey podcast on YouTube.
All right, Councilman.
You can always find me at Tsunami State on alumni, the U, on my socials, also on my Twitter and my YouTube. And then we're also starting to GoFundMe so that I can stop having Sami Zayn in main events because just wasn't feeling it, dog. Just wasn't feeling it.
You weren't feeling that? What happened on Monday? Him calling out Seth Rollins?
New Day shouldn't. Why were they out there? Why? That was a whole segment they did not need to be a part of. Also, we can have Drew. You know what? No, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna hate on that man like that. I'm not moving into 2025 with this animosity towards Mick Foley Jr. And I promise y'all, as we close out 2024, I am going to dead the CM Punk ass and the Mick Foley Jr. and I'm gonna leave it in 2024.
But it will still be Cody's fault.
Oh, it's gonna always be Cody's fault. We in a whole new time. Yo, I could be skitty in the other timeline that we'd have been in had Cody not finished his story. Okay.
You know what?
Jacob would show up every week had Cody not finished his story.
He went there.
Oh boy.
Don't know the possibilities because we had a whole different timeline thanks to him.
Oh my gosh. Mayor.
You can find me on Twitter at Says, on the gram at cedistheanswer, the website, cedricwelton.com. And as usual, you can find me in Vice City and Parkerville, where I am the proud representative of 2 of the best spinning back strikes in the entire WWE. Do with that information what you will.
Wow.
It's not going
Accompanied to the ring by Dakota Kai and the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, the Kabuki Warriors.
Oh boy.
I did.
See how Oscar's hips was lying right there? That's part of the problem. That's part of the problem right there.
You know what?
Courtney,
Thank you for being your friend, said.
Yeah.
See,
we will not play it. We can't play it. We can't play it. We can't play it. Courtney.
You're gonna find me over in Cassidyville and Timeless Tinseltown in the next couple of minutes. My watch along for Dynamite. because I will be seeing one half of my client take on Sneaky Swerve tonight. Also, you can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram on @CourtneyNJ11, where I do have content happening in the coming weeks. But yeah, top of the hour, AEW Dynamite, watch along. Don't want to miss this one.
Wait, did you just say Cassidy's Tinseltown? Is that what I heard?
She's gonna be in Cassidyville and Tinseltown. And wait,
okay.
And what did you say about Swerve? What? Sleepy Swerve, you said?
When the Acclaimed feuded with Swerve and Keith Caster called him Sneaky Swerve.
Sneaky Swerve. You know what? That I cannot do. Hilarious. Like Professor's face.
I'm stuck. Yes. I gotta get out of it. Yeah, you can find me at I don't play the trombone, but I did play the trumpet. And that's where you can find me. I've got actually a very, very full weekend coming up. Certainly if you follow me at bonnerfide, you'll see a lot of content on there right now. And then this weekend, big weekend for me. Friday is my official 5-year anniversary in the wrestling business, which I'm very excited about. So I've got a big show Friday night at Southern Honor, where it all began. Saturday night, I'll be with Ashe Wrestling, a huge night as we crown our first ever Ashe Wrestling men's champion. Very excited about this. We'll also have a women's triple threat, Jada Stone, Jordan Blade, and Karen Bam Bam Renee. That will be live on pay-per-view at ashewrestling.com for those who want to watch. I will be on commentary as well. So hopefully you guys will check that out. So we make a bit of history. And then all kinds of things are going on in all sorts of places. All Caribbean, Nightmare Factory, IWE, Southern Honor, all the places. So make sure you guys check that out. Thank you so much, cousin. I appreciate you. Also, www.talkpod.com is the website. WWTalkPod is where you can find us on all of the good social spaces. Lots of good things happening, including some new merch that is coming. A new website is coming. All kinds of new things are coming. Top of the year, where it will indeed be a new day. Yes, it is. Shout out to all of you who have joined us in the chat. So many of you, too many to count, but I appreciate all of you rocking with us. And remember, at the top of the hour, we have our watch along for Dynamite. And again, it looks like it's going to be a fantastic card. So on behalf of the entire team, this has been WWT Live as part of Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the